I don't know if you know this, but when you don't have time to read the Washington Post, you can listen to it. Almost every article has a listening option. And right now, you can become a Washington Post subscriber for just 50 cents a week. It's an incredible deal. Stay on top of what's happening by signing up at washingtonpost.com/pod. That's washingtonpost.com/POD.
It's beginning to sound a lot like the holidays. The Roku channel, your home for free and premium TV, is giving you access to holiday music and genre-based stations from iHeart, all for free. Find the soundtrack of the season with channels like iHeart Christmas and North Pole Radio. The Roku channel is available on all Roku devices, web, Amazon Fire TV, Google TV, Samsung TVs, and the Roku mobile app on iOS and Android devices. So stream what you love and turn up the cheer with iHeartRadio on the Roku channel. Happy streaming!
After the movie Free Willy became a hit, word got out that the star of the film, a killer whale named Keiko, was sick and still living in a tiny pool in a Mexican amusement park. Fans were outraged. Kids demanded his release. I'm Daniel Alarcón. From Serial Productions and the New York Times comes The Good Whale, a story about the wildly ambitious science experiment to return Keiko to the ocean. Listen to new episodes on Thursdays. Want early access to the whole show? Subscribe to The Times at nytimes.com/podcast to listen on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Let me tell you about a small town feud in Mississippi, which escalates into an all-out war. From Emmy Award-winning directors McLean Way and Chapman Way comes the new 3-episode documentary series, The Kings of Tupelo, a Southern crime saga, now streaming on Netflix. It might be the strangest yet truest story ever told. It has an Elvis impersonator, a Taekwondo instructor, an elephant which was shot in a drive-by, a tiny dog with a tranquilizer as a means of revenge, and oh yeah, an attempt to assassinate then President Obama with ricin. Can't leave that out. Yes, a true story.
Police say their investigation began from an anonymous tip.
I told the FBI, we have a strange individual.
I had the most controversial story in the entire state of Mississippi and possibly the entire country. My mama raised me on Jesus, Elvis, and cornbread, and yes, in that order. I had a peaceful, nice life. But one person hated me and made my life a living hell. James Everett Dusky, a karate instructor in Tupelo, Mississippi.
Dusky?
Dusky.
We called him douchebag.
I'm Jay Everett Dusky, and I approve this message.
I could have never dreamed how it turned into such a scandal.
This is my rival enemy, stalking every move I made.
Suck it, Kevin.
This thing became a war.
My neighbor called, "Your house is on fire."
These two had a Napoleonic syndrome, little men trying to be big.
I said, "Quit stalking me."
I have nothing to do with this.
Are you having an affair with my wife?
Maybe we crossed the line.
How far will this go?
We're following new developments in Tupelo, Mississippi.
Who mailed poison-filled letters to the President of the United States?
A Mississippi congressman
and U.S. Senator targeted.
He'll be charged with an attempt to kill the President of the United States.
During my 25 years in the Bureau, I've described this case as the craziest in my career.
Some of our people are very insane.
They shot my dog with a tranquilizer. My little moo cat.
Did they find anything suspicious?
Everybody has something suspicious in their house.
How do you go from a feud with a former friend to sending ricin to the President of the United States?
That's a bad no-no.
I still don't even understand all of it.
Of an elephant was shot in a drive-by shooting.
I just found a severed head.
He is said to be an Elvis impersonator obsessed with conspiracies.
Welcome to Mississippi.
Joining me now on the show are co-directors McLean and Chapman Way. You may also know them from their outstanding Untold sports documentary series and Wild Wild Country, also on Netflix. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having us. We're excited to talk about this. It's a banana story.
Chapman, let's start there. Chapman, as I said in my introduction, in just 3 episodes, we will see a Taekwondo instructor / Elvis impersonator learn of an elephant shot in a drive-by, an attempt to kill President Obama with ricin, a dog shot with a tranquilizer, and that's just for starters, right?
That's just the beginning of the madness. Yeah, we had a recollection of this, happening in 2013 when an Elvis impersonator was arrested for trying to assassinate President Barack Obama with poisonous letters. And so it seemed like such an odd, bizarre story. Mac and I flew out to Tupelo in 2021 to meet with Paul Kevin Curtis, the main character, find out what happened here. What is this story about? And quickly kind of just uncovered so much more than we could have ever bargained for. Kevin's story starts with finding a severed head in a hospital working as a janitor. And that's kind of the first step in this journey, so to speak, just to give you a quick taste.
McLean, or Mac as some do call you, that's the first step or the first part of this. But tell me more about these former friends turned dangerous rivals. Do we know what started the feud?
Yeah, so to give a little context, Kevin's journey is a complicated one, but it certainly is what explains of kind of where the story starts and where it begins. So to pick up where Chap left off, Kevin, he's an Elvis impersonator in Tupelo, Mississippi. He's working at a janitor in a hospital, finds a severed head in a morgue, and what Kevin becomes convinced of is that there is a black market organ body parts trade happening in Tupelo, Mississippi. That leads him to want to create his own House bill resolution. You need a state representative from Mississippi to pass a House bill resolution. That gets him to Steve Holland, who himself is a state representative. Steve Holland is also a funeral home owner, which is a central part of Kevin's black market body conspiracy theory. That then takes him to Washington, D.C. to the sitting U.S. Senator Roger Wicker, who's from Mississippi. Kevin performs as an Elvis at one of Roger Wicker's weddings. And then that ultimately leads him to President Barack Obama to try and get this chaos passed. Now, in the midst of that, he makes a lot of enemies. One of these enemies that he makes is a karate instructor in Tupelo, a man named James Everett Dutschke. Now, Kevin ultimately ends up getting arrested for sending these poisonous letters to Obama, to Wicker, to Holland. But I'll leave it at this because a big portion is, did Kevin do it? Did he not? That was a big part of his innocence, which involves the James Everett Dutschke story.
Chapman, I've never been to Mississippi, and given this story, I don't think I will ever go to Mississippi. But this sounds like it could only happen in Mississippi. What is it about this state which lends itself to this type of weirdness and mayhem?
Yeah, we quickly realized, flying out there and meeting a lot of the people in Tupelo and surrounding areas that, they're very proud of their eccentricity. It's something they wear. It's a badge of honor. They wear it on their sleeve. They embrace it, which is incredible for us as filmmakers and storytellers, and quickly realized that it was just like a murderer's row of talking heads, of storytellers. All these people can weave an incredible yarn, to spin a yarn. They can heighten stories. They can embellish stories. Sometimes some untruths are even thrown into these stories, and really became a big part of making this series is what is real, what is not, what's fact, what's fiction, what really happened here. And it's part of the fun of the roller coaster of going on watching the Kings of Tupelo.
Maybe that's the apt description, Mac, because when Chap says roller coaster, we get on a ride, we expect to enjoy it, we want the thrill, but nobody dies. How is it nobody died in this story?
It's a great question. I haven't been asked that one yet. And maybe some people came close because I don't want to spoil too much, but there's a judge who does take a sniff of these ricin letters, and she's older, but even she was able to survive. But I think had this thing kept on heating up, I think someone might have ended up in the ground. I don't know. I know that an elephant got shot, like Chad mentioned. Kevin's dog got tranquilized. But everyone made it out of this story alive that we know.
Chap, I'm quite sure when you and Max started researching this story, you probably thought one thing or thought the story might have been told one way, but then it probably grew the more you investigated, the more people that you talked to, and became even more incredible than you originally thought. Am I right?
Absolutely. Yes. What we initially thought was just going to be a story about a feud basically turned into this massive conspiracy rabbit hole of severed heads and the black market organ trade happening in the South and around the world. And so it took us down a rabbit hole of trying to figure out what's going on here, how this all works. And there was just, it was never a shortage of shocking events. I mean, Kevin's house burns down to the ground during this conspiracy rabbit hole. His car is blown up. I mean, it's just kind of nonstop madness, and figuring out who's responsible, who's behind this, what's going on is part of the investigative process that the audience gets to go on when they watch it.
Gentlemen, let's take a brief pause and then we can pick up our conversation. There's so much I do want to cover with you as we talk about The Kings of Tupelo, a Southern crime saga, now available on Netflix. My guests right now are Chapman and McLean Way, the co-directors of The Kings of Tupelo. We'll have more in just a moment. It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640. We are live everywhere on the iHeartRadio.
Head over to NFLShop.com for the largest collection of officially licensed gear from all your favorite brands. NFL Shop is your ultimate gifting destination for jerseys, t-shirts, headwear, and more. Take your game day style to the next level with the best selection of NFL gear anywhere. Show off your team pride this holiday season with styles fit for the whole family. To shop now, go to NFLShop.com.
I have a way to make your morning more efficient. You can get caught up on the news in about 7 minutes. That is my promise to you as the host of the 7 podcast from the Washington Post. And in that time, I will run down 7 stories. Everything from the most important headlines to fascinating new information you might miss otherwise. My name's Hannah Jewell. Go follow the 7 right now, wherever you're listening. And we will get you caught up.
It's beginning to sound a lot like the holidays. The Roku channel, your home for free and premium TV, is giving you access to holiday music and genre-based stations from iHeart, all for free. Find the soundtrack of the season with channels like iHeart Christmas and North Pole Radio. The Roku channel is available on all Roku devices, web, Amazon Fire TV, Google TV, Samsung TVs, and the Roku mobile app on iOS and Android devices. So stream what you love and turn up the cheer with iHeartRadio on the Roku channel. Happy streaming.
Video app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And I'm right in the middle of an incredible conversation with co-directors, brothers, fantastic filmmakers, Chapman Way and McLean Way. They are co-directors of the new 3-episode documentary series, The Kings of Tupelo, a Southern crime saga, now available on Netflix. The story is seemingly unbelievable, but it is all true. It has an Elvis impersonator / a Taekwondo instructor, an elephant which was shot in a drive-by shooting, not kidding, a tiny dog shot with a tranquilizer as a means of revenge, and oh yeah, an attempt to assassinate then President Obama with ricin.
FBI, Secret Service, U.S. Capitol Police, Postal Service, National Guard, Homeland Security send a deadly toxin to the U.S. president. There's a lot of folks going to start trying to figure out who you are.
I really didn't know why this particular individual chose me, but sending the letter to the president was a grave, grave mistake on his part.
The first step of the investigation, we needed to do some link analysis. The envelopes were all postmarked Memphis, Tennessee, but when they go through the Postal Service, they're stamped with a barcode, and the barcode indicated that the originating office was Tupelo, Mississippi. So Tupelo became ground zero for this operation.
It is unbelievable. It is incredible, but it is now part of the 3-part documentary series, The Kings of Tupelo, a Southern crime saga. And Mac, take me into the creation process. You have all this raw video and stories that you didn't know prior to starting on this journey. How do you and your brother, your co-director, sit down and try to make some sense out of the seeming nonsense and tell a coherent story across maybe 3 episodes?
It's a great question because a part of this story is a confusing conspiracy theory that as filmmakers, you then need to break down and process and make the conspiracy, which doesn't really make a lot of sense, kind of makes sense to an audience. And so that was a bit of a 2.5-year journey. Now, what's helpful is we probably had 60 shoot days. And we interviewed people for a really long time. Listen, I think we interviewed Kevin for 4 or 5 nonstop days. We interviewed his former wife, Laura, for 2 days. We interviewed Steve Holland, who's one of our main characters, for 3 days. And you're just pulling all this information out of it. I will say this. One of the things that we got lucky on is there's a tremendous amount of archive footage in this series. And that's because we got a lot of that archive footage from the FBI themselves. Because the FBI raided both Paul Kevin Curtis's house and James Everett Duxby's house. They pick up all their hard drives, they pick up all their tapes, they pick up all their video cameras, and it's been kept in storage for the last 11 years. So for us, that was a godsend, because all of a sudden all this footage shows up on our doorstep and it's perfectly organized. And that's because the FBI were the people that controlled this media for quite a while.
Let me close with this one question. It may seem simple, but I know it's not. First to you, Chap, what was your takeaway from doing this project, from learning this story, which is a little bit different from Wild Wild Country, or maybe not, or different from Untold?
Yeah, I think the big takeaway for me was kind of the insight into the birth of internet and internet conspiracies and the rabbit holes, and how do people find themselves going down these rabbit holes, and what does it provide to them? Maybe it's a sense of validation, a sense of importance, a sense of meaning. And so I think it's like, obviously conspiracies have become such a huge part of our culture today. So I think this story kind of shows you a window into a time much earlier in our country when the kind of birth of all this stuff was happening.
Mac, last word to you.
Yeah, for me, I'm excited to introduce audiences to this really unique town of Tupelo, Mississippi. It was certainly my experience there. I think that Tupelo is the only place where a kid could have been born in a shotgun shack and he rises to become the king of rock and roll. And I think that has an impact on the town citizens. I think a lot of these people have very big dreams, aspirations, ideals of right and wrong. And for us, we got to just kind of press record and let them go. And that's certainly what our documentary series is.
He is Mac, as in McLean Way, and alongside of his brother Chapman Way. They are co-directors of the new 3-episode documentary series, The Kings of Tupelo, a Southern crime saga, now available on Netflix. Gentlemen, thank you so much for doing this. I don't know how you did it, but I'm glad you did it. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Phil.
A really fun conversation. Thanks for having us on.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And the box office for this last weekend, some of it was not so surprising. We heard the movie reviews of both Mark Ronner and Tawala Sharp for the movie Kraven the Hunter. Mark Ronner, paraphrasing, is a double code brown. And Tawala Sharp said it was probably one of the worst movies ever. I expected it would do about 15 million domestically. It didn't even get that much. It got 11 million domestically, 15 million internationally, 26 million worldwide against a $110 million budget. It probably won't be in theaters all that long. It's only in 3,200 theaters right now. It'll probably lose a third of that this week. It doesn't look good for Kraven the Hunter. Nothing but horrible reviews. And I think this will probably, it hasn't been announced that Aaron Taylor Johnson's going to be Bond, the next Bond. But if that contract is not signed, this does not help at all as far as a bankable star.
Yeah, you really don't want Kraven as the top line on your resume, do you?
Not the most recent starring vehicle that you've been in.
No, it's such a bad movie that it's fun to hear people talk about it. I spent a little time over the weekend looking at YouTube reviews, and people are just, let's say they're lifting a leg on it. It's funny.
Like in a fire hydrant sort of way?
Something like that, yes.
Okay. Well, it came in number 3 this week, believe it or not. Number 1 is still Moana 2. It's in its 3rd week of release. It is still very healthy at the box office, 26.5 million domestically. Its worldwide total is now almost $750 million, 717,800,000. And it's still pretty evenly balanced, 337 domestically, 380 internationally. And it has an outside chance of hitting $1 billion. I don't know that it will, but it'll get pretty darn close. Number 2, again, is Wicked. Came in with another healthy week of 22.6 million, and it has now crossed the $500 million mark.
I saw that again.
Again?
Yeah, I saw it again yesterday.
And that's what it needs for any movie to get close to $1 billion or even $750 million. You have to have people who are willing to see it multiple times.
I'd see it again. I'd actually see it again.
Did you see it by yourself or with your children again?
I saw it with my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for the mine had a birthday party at AMC. She rented out the theater. We all went.
Coming in number 4 is Gladiator 2. I think it's much more appreciated internationally than domestically. I haven't seen the movie. I haven't gotten around to it. I may see it sometime this holiday season. But it's up to $400 million worldwide. It's making money. How much? I don't know, but it's making money. Number 5 is Lord of the Rings, The War of the Romper Room, or wherever it is. It's
Warhim. Wait, what's that word?
Romper Room.
Yeah.
The Warhim.
Well, who?
The War of the Warhim.
Mjolnir?
War of the Meow Meow.
Not familiar with it, but it came in number 5 this week. It banked another $4.5 million for a total of $10 million worldwide.
I heard this is quite possibly one of the best iterations of anything on the big screen that's ever been done with Lord of the Rings because it's animated, it moves fast, and it's like pure action.
Yeah,
not a lot of walking and talking.
Because live action is walking and talking. I know it's expensive, but it's walking and talking.
How can you be one of those meetings of the elves laying out exposition for 15 minutes?
Oh my gosh.
While staring out over an open playing field.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I mean, there are things that you can cut out of these movies. None of those movies need to be 3 hours. None of them.
I dropped them after the second one.
Yeah, I didn't see, what was it? Smog? That was The Hobbit, right? Wasn't it? Desolation of Smog.
If you say so.
Yeah, I did see Return of the King in theaters, and I think the last hour was nothing but walking and talking, and I gave up after that because it kept looking like it was going to end. No, it's not ending. Then it looked like it was going to end. No, it's not ending, and it just kept being dragged out. I would never watch another Lord of the Rings movie in theaters.
Is there something you don't like about prolonged CGI orc elf battles?
No. There weren't enough battles actually to justify the 3-hour movie. That was my issue.
I just flatlined it, the whole thing.
There was so much walking and so much talking. Yes, I know it's a long journey, but you don't have to show me the actual long journey.
Yeah, we don't need to go on the actual journey.
Yeah, we can just do a montage real quick, and we're there.
No, the montages were long. You know how long those walking montages were? Those were like 30 minutes by themselves.
Yeah, we can have a shortcut from the shortcut.
Anyhow, that came in number 5. Number 6 is Red One, still hanging on $4.2 million.
And that's on Prime.
Yeah. Yes, it is. And that's when I was going to watch it and where I was going to watch it. Number 8 is Interstellar. It is still hanging around the top 10. It's made, since its 10-year re-release, it's made $21 million worldwide. It probably will do better than Craven.
Well, you got to admit, that is one to see on a big screen. All of Nolan's movies are. Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, I can be hard on Interstellar as far as its big reveal. But the movie, one thing I like about Christopher Nolan is he's a very ambitious director. He is going to try these big concept movies. And sometimes he misses. Tenet was a miss. But I like the concept. I like the attempt. I just didn't care for the execution.
Special effects were great.
Yeah. Inception, big idea movie. Didn't like everything about it, but I was not mad about it when I saw it.
I love Inception.
No, I'm just saying, he has big concepts and their original ideas, and he's willing to throw all the money in the world at them. So I have no problem watching anything Nolan. Anything.
Was the Bond movie good? I can't remember what you said about that one.
I liked it. Didn't love it.
Okay.
Wait, the what?
The bomb.
Oppenheimer, yeah.
Oh,
it wasn't enough bomb.
That's not even my favorite movie of his. It's worth seeing for sure, but it's I don't think that's his biggest home run by any stretch, even though it was the most critically lauded.
Absolutely. I mean, I liked it because I knew the history. I did a book report, expose on a famous person back in grade school on Robert Oppenheimer. So I was already familiar with it in a nostalgic sort of way, not to be morbid. But the movie didn't have enough about the bomb. I didn't care as much about the person and his frailties and, his adulterous lifestyle. I didn't care anything about that. In a movie about the atom bomb should have been the star, and it wasn't. The atom bomb should have been vying for an Academy Award, and it wasn't.
I thought the movie had a lot of interesting sexuality.
It did.
A lot of people wanted to see.
I didn't. I didn't. There was nudity and everything, and I was nonplussed by that because I wasn't there for that type of movie. And I know they have to make a certain movie to get as many people interested in it as possible. But I would have been just fine with a bunch of nerdy scenes of scientists getting around the table and trying to figure this out, and all the problems that they had along the way. They did do some montages for that, but I wanted more of that storyline and less about his mistress. I just didn't care.
The bottom line on the Oppenheimer movie is that it raised Cillian Murphy's profile high enough so that we're finally going to get a Peaky Blinders wrap-up movie.
You sure about that?
I am sure about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But I don't want to have that movie to use that as a jetway to another movie. I want the movie to be able to stand on its own. And I was really looking forward to Oppenheimer. I liked it, did not love it.
Same. Although it's boring when we agree.
Yeah. Let's find something to disagree on.
Yeah, please.
Chitlins.
You're wrong about chitlins. That's the hill I'm going to die on.
You have to eat
your
some.
opinion about chitlins sucks.
No, my opinion is they're horrible and they're nasty, but my opinion is also you need to try some.
Okay, that's not going to happen. Time for the news.
KFI AM 640.
Head over to NFLshop.com for the largest collection of officially licensed gear from all your favorite brands. NFL Shop is your ultimate gifting destination for jerseys, t-shirts, headwear, and more. Take your game day style to the next level with the best selection of NFL gear anywhere. Show off your team pride this holiday season with styles fit for the whole family. To shop now, go to NFLshop.com.
I don't know if you know this, but when you don't have time to read the Washington Post, you can listen to it. Almost every article has a listening option. And right now, you can become a Washington Post subscriber for just 50 cents a week. It's an incredible deal. Stay on top of what's happening by signing up at washingtonpost.com/pod. That's washingtonpost.com/POD.
It's beginning to sound a lot like the holidays. The Roku channel, your home for free and premium TV, is giving you access to holiday music and genre-based stations from iHeart, all for free. Find the soundtrack of the season with channels like iHeart Christmas and North Pole Radio. The Roku channel is available on all Roku devices, web, Amazon Fire TV, Google TV, Samsung TVs, and the Roku mobile app on iOS and Android devices. So stream what you love and turn up the cheer with iHeartRadio on the Roku channel. Happy streaming.
Live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Before we go, I did want to give you a short, quick, down and dirty review of this new Netflix movie called Carry On. I think it dropped like on Friday. It has, what was his name? Taron Egerton?
Yeah.
Jason Bateman,
and some other people that you'll probably recognize by face, middle-level actors. If you've seen
Kingsman.
Yeah, Kingsman. Yeah, you'll recognize him. But there was another actor in it, which you know by face. If you've seen like Luke Cage, he was Luke Cage, Theo Rossi. He was also in one of the Disney Plus shows recently. But there are a lot of recognizable faces in this, and the premise is pretty simple. Taron Egerton plays a TSA agent. He's grossly lazy, uninspired in his life, just caught in a rut, unassuming guy, the last person you think he's going to be a hero. Well, he's going to be a hero in this movie. And he is working TSA line, and then a series of events which happens where he has to make a decision to either endanger a flight or have his girlfriend killed. You know, these impossible decisions he has to make. It's part Die Hard, part movie Red Eye. It's reminiscent of every movie that you've seen. There's nothing new in it except it's kind of updated for technology. The problem with a movie like this is, and it's not bad, it's just that for me, I know enough about how airports work and airport security to know that nothing in this movie could happen. Absolutely nothing.
I'm going to watch it because that's just kind of my kind of movie, but
you will yell at the screen side. There's no way that could happen.
Well, the title itself is so uninspiring. Carry On. Is there going to be a sequel called 3.5 ounce bottle? It doesn't really thrill you to the marrow of your bones.
Well, I'm all about motivations as well. And when you find out the conceit or the MacGuffin, you think like, well, the bad guys, this was their best idea. They sunk all their money and all their brain power into this particular plan to accomplish that particular end. It doesn't make sense, because once all is revealed what they're trying to do and why they're trying to do it, your instantaneous thought will be, well, I would have just done X, Y, or Z. It would have been a whole lot easier. And you would be right, because these are supposedly powerful people, can do all sorts of powerful things. They're trying to use a really backwards way to get what they need done, because they show you that these are powerful people, puppet strings, pulling things. They have all sorts of money and power. And this is their plan that they chose to get what they needed done to get done. There are just a lot of holes in it. All that said, it's fine. I was washing my clothes and watching the movie. I was eating breakfast and watching the movie. I was feeding the dogs and watching the movie. It doesn't require your full attention, but as part of your Netflix subscription, it's fine. It's fine. It's when I say it's low budget, I don't mean that in a dismissive way. I'm saying it takes place all in one or two locations, so they didn't have to spend a lot of money. It is set, air quotes, at LAX. And that's another drawback for me. I know LAX. You know LAX. And there are some establishing shots which are LAX. But then they show some other airport which is clearly not LAX. It might have been CGI for all I know, because it just wasn't LAX. Because we know what the arrival and departure terminals look like when you're pulling up. It's just not LAX. And if you can get past all that, it's fine. It's 2 hours. It was about an hour and 40 minutes too long. It was basically a 30-minute TV show.
I would watch a movie about a friendship ending over one person asking to be driven to LAX.
There is some of that in this.
Okay.
There is some of that.
All right.
Yeah. But Taron Egerton, his character, he's TSA agent. His girlfriend, the female lead, she's like she does something at the airport. Ground control for Major Tom. I don't know. She does something at the airport which is important later on. And, they're a couple, some backstory. She just finds out she's pregnant. So that's the predicate for everything which happens on that particular day.
Well, listening to you describe it sounds like something that could have been generated by an AI. I was waiting for you to tell me what the inciting incident was.
Oh, no. Mark, when you watch this, I'm not saying it was created by AI. I'm just saying it's not believable. It's not all that inspiring, but it's fine in a TV movie of the week sort of way. If you're old enough to remember those TV movies.
Oh, are you kidding me?
It fits perfectly in that mold.
Listen, I have a whole YouTube playlist filled with 70s TV movies. Those things were entertaining.
Yeah, this is not even as good as the movie like Airport 77, George Kennedy. It's nothing like that. It's nothing like that. It's all self-contained in one or two set locations. A lot of walking, a lot of talking, a lot of dialogue.
It seems like Taron Egerton's kind of been on the edge of being a huge star for a really long time and hasn't quite gotten to the tipping point. Those Kingsman movies are really entertaining.
They are. This is not that.
Okay.
But I will say this. I saw Taron Egerton. He's like 30 something. I think he's like 35. He looks in the face like he could be ready for a James Bond level role.
Really? That's a bold statement. That really is.
This movie is not the vehicle for that, but there's enough physicality in it where you can see like they're trying to change, because he had this baby face forever in the Kingsman movies. You can tell his face, he's not baby faced anymore. He looks like he's a grown ass man now. And I think the roles will start shifting accordingly.
What do you think about him as Wolverine? There's been talk of that.
I can see that.
You can.
I can see that. I don't know if he could pull it off, but I'm saying with the right makeup and everything, yes, he's young enough. Yes, I can see it.
Huh. All right. Well,
but
I'm in.
Let me know. See it. I wouldn't expect too much from it, but it's enjoyable enough. I would not, if I went to see it in the theater, I'd be cussing at the screen. But if as part of my Netflix subscription, yeah, sure, why not?
I think half the movies on Netflix, Hulu, and some of these other services are designed to be just have on while you're doing other stuff.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Critical thinkers wanted.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the
The only thing better than the holidays are holidays packed with NFL games. Kicking off Thursday, December 19th with an AFC West showdown.
Touchdown Chargers!
Then a Saturday doubleheader. 12 games Sunday. With a battle in Lambeau on Monday night.
Oh, what a play! What a catch!
And a Christmas Day doubleheader for the ages on Netflix.
Oh, sweet Marie!
That's how the NFL does the holidays.
I don't know if you know this, but when you don't have time to read the Washington Post, you can listen to it. Almost every article has a listening option. And right now, you can become a Washington Post subscriber for just 50 cents a week. It's an incredible deal. Stay on top of what's happening by signing up at washingtonpost.com/pod. That's washingtonpost.com/POD.
It's beginning to sound a lot like the holidays. The Roku channel, your home for free and premium TV, is giving you access to holiday music and genre-based stations from iHeart, all for free. Find the soundtrack of the season with channels like iHeart Christmas and North Pole Radio. The Roku channel is available on all Roku devices, web, Amazon Fire TV, Google TV, Samsung TVs, and the Roku mobile app on iOS and Android devices. So stream what you love and turn up the cheer with iHeartRadio on the Roku channel. Happy streaming!